Hello, my name is Dr. Doug with Home Server HQ. This video is a short illustrated synopsis of the Home Server HQ architecture. Now, the most important aspect to convey is the concept of a two-server setup, a home server and a relay server. The home server is the physical equipment in your home where the data resides, and the relay server is a lightweight access point so that you can connect to your home server from anywhere. There are some other networking capabilities that naturally emerge from this framework, but the central focus is the security and accessibility of your private data. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so here is your house. You have your modem/router supplied by your internet provider. Then you have your own personal third-party router, which if you don't have one, I highly recommend it. And then you've got your other devices, maybe a desktop, laptop, cell phone, or whatever. And finally, your home server. This is your home network. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Your ISP modem is connected to your provider, and that in turn is connected to the big bad internet. So how are you going to be able to connect to your home server? Now the typical method would be to open up ports on your home router and connect directly to your home. However, this is a security risk as it directly exposes your home network to outside threats. It also allows anyone to know your home IP address. Or for various reasons, your ISP might not even let you open up those ports. So what do? Well, you need an intermediate relay which is open and reachable from anywhere on the internet. In this case, we are going to utilize something called a Virtual Private Server, or VPS for short, from a cloud provider. A VPS is essentially a blank server that you control. Now you might be saying, I thought we were trying to get away from the cloud. Well, there are some very specific attributes that this method provides that you cannot get through your home's internet provider. First, when you rent a VPS, you are given a public static IP address. This allows you to point your services such as email and anything else you expose to the relay server rather than your home. Second, it separates the data from the access point, which improves security. The relay server simply relays the request back to your home. Third, it provides an authenticated ingress point to your private network. The only devices that are allowed in are the ones that you specifically add. And finally, you can use this relay server to masquerade your internet traffic. Now this small little feature is simply what quote-unquote VPN providers do. Well, now you can do that too with your own relay server. And there are literally thousands of cloud VPS providers all over the planet. You can choose whichever one you want based on speed, cost, location, and resources. The relay server requires very little resources and is thus low cost. So you rent a VPS from a provider to function as your relay server. Your home server will send an outgoing encrypted tunnel to the relay. So let's say you're at a coffee shop with your laptop. You create a tunnel from your laptop to the relay, and then you have full access to your private network. You can also tunnel your internet traffic as well, and it will egress from your relay server. Now let's simplify this diagram a little bit. Your home server is tunneled to the relay server, and you can access it with your trusted devices. You can also invite other home servers to your private network, thus allowing devices like your cell phone and your laptop to access those other servers. Conversely, you can also host your services on other networks, or you can do both. In this case, Green is hosting on Blue's network and Blue is hosting on Green's network. The only two servers that cannot communicate with one another is Purple and Red, but Blue and Green can connect with everyone. And finally, given the peer-to-peer nature of WireGuard, you can connect your client devices to multiple networks simultaneously, even with cell phones which only allow a single WireGuard interface up at a time. So there's a lot of cool networking things that you can do. And there are simple to use tools for all of these things, so you can set it up in a matter of seconds with just a few button clicks. Now if you have the capabilities at home to allow port forwarding and have a static IP address, and you don't want to utilize any third parties, well, you can just host a relay server at home. You'll be giving up some of the benefits mentioned previously, but if that's what you want to do, it is an option. The code is fully open source, it doesn't matter where you deploy it. This two-server setup was designed as a general solution to accommodate a very wide range of preferences and situations. Now let's talk about security inside of your private network for a moment. In addition to an outer layer of encryption provided by WireGuard, there is also another inner layer of encryption when connecting to your private services. This is handled by your own internal certificate issuing authority, and the private key for the root certificate is buried on your home server with the most limited permission set. Furthermore, there are various security measures in place that treat your network and any other networks that you host on as hostile, meaning all services have mechanisms for authentication and authorization as if they were fully exposed to the public internet. Here's another way of looking at it. Think of your private network like a neighborhood of homes. The VPN functions like a giant wall around the entire thing. It takes a few extra steps to set up the credentials for passage, and once you set them up, you're done. But even though there is a wall, everyone is still going to lock their doors and bar up their windows. Hopefully this video was able to convey an overall view of the architecture as well as other related networking components. Now you don't need to understand every little detail, but rather a general understanding of what's going on and what you're trying to do. Then just use the provided tools to do all of the work. That's all I have for today. In closing, stay safe, keep your system up to date, and always back up your data. And if you have any questions or need help, just ask. My name is Dr. Doug. Until next time, God bless.